Yeah, what's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new live episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man who's hanging out, enjoying the greenery of Boston. There, Jeff Sneider, the Sneider himself. How are you, Jeff?
Hi, Johnny boy! What's up, my man? How's fucking California?
It's hot. Super damn hot. It is 91 degrees wherever you go. My leg burnt off the other day. It is so fucking hot, man. How was Boston?
When I left, there was just June gloom, nothing but June gloom. Then I get back here, thunderstorms. I'm telling you, I can't catch a break.
Yeah, no, it's hot out here, but there's a lot going on in our world, and so there's a lot happening here. We're gonna have some fun covering what's going on here in the world of entertainment. A lot of various amount of stories we're going to talk about on this show. So please sit back, relax, and if you want to send in some support to the show, Streamlabs SuperChats are available. You see it above Jeff's head. It's also pinned in the chat as I'm speaking. Send in your love, send in your support. Thanks to everybody who's joining us right off the bat here. I know it's an unusual time, but hopefully more of you will be rolling in as we go along. Jeff, how are things over there on the East Coast? Is it weird for you with all the stuff breaking, or do you feel like you're getting more information there on the East Coast quicker than those of us on the West Coast? What's your thoughts there?
I mean, I definitely prefer the flow of the West Coast news. Yeah, I like publishing at like 7 o'clock my time, but it's only 4 o'clock there, and it feels like the day's not done. And then got news from that day carrying over into the next day's newsletter. And yeah, so I definitely prefer the rhythms of the West Coast, but this isn't an unusual time for us. I feel like this is our typical when Jeff is on the East Coast time.
Yes, you're right. Not unusual. Yeah, right. For when you're on the East Coast, but for sure. So we got so much to get into here, Jeff. Let's just start it off without wasting any time here. I got to get your thoughts on the HBO Max situation. It just came out yesterday that essentially Casey Bloy is out there admitting, if you read through the lines, that they made a mistake making everything Max and that they're now bringing back the HBO brand to be more of a focus for them. The Harry Potter series will be under that umbrella. The new Lantern series will be under that umbrella. And the It Dairy prequel will be under that umbrella. And probably more of the prestige TV will go there. And the more, how should I say this? The less prestigious, I always say, but no insulting way, will go to Max. So what are your thoughts on this? Because it'll all still be on the Max streamer. So is this more like kind of behind the scenes maneuvering, or is this a branding thing for people who are watching their content?
I mean, it's a branding thing. I mean, I'll tell you, as a journalist, I found myself reluctant to use the word Max because it's confusing, because people think it's a name and they're like, Max who? I'm like, so literally as a writer, it didn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
HBO also is the best brand in entertainment, basically, next to Marvel, I think. So, you know, like, it never made sense to move away from that. But this is about money, like all things, as we talk about here on the Hot Mic, John, right?
Yes.
When you look, it's like HBO doesn't have the like robust development slate that I feel like it used to have. It's pulled back on that front. Right. And that's because it spent so much money on these Max series. It's like, why you can't spend all that money on Max shows and then build a normal HBO slate.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of money that you're spending. And that's where you're seeing everybody belt tighten and pull back a little. So it totally makes sense that it's like, okay, we've committed to make these shows, but you know, we can't make them and then another crop of HBO shows. These are now the HBO shows. If we are going to make Max originals, they're going to be cheaper shows. They're not going to be. They're not going to. Why are we using our best IP on Max and not putting the HBO branding on it?
Yeah.
I think this made a lot of sense.
Do you think it was a confusion? Because I imagine they did case study, behind the scenes, focus groups, all this kind of thing, and realized, okay, we really made a mistake here. And do you think this was affecting them attracting certain level of talent? Not that they've necessarily had those issues in the past, but maybe like the mixture here where like, wow, I can go to the same place for Trixie's Motel and then also catch as The Sopranos.
It's a perception thing. Yeah. Absolutely, John. You feel like if it's Max and not HBO, it's a little bit of a lesser than thing, even though, again, HBO shows are debuting simultaneously on Max.
Right.
It's not vice versa. That's what people don't understand. Like, you know, if you don't have Max, if you're my grandmother and you've just always had HBO and you're not paying for Max, you know, then you wouldn't be able to have seen those Max shows when they were Max shows.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what people I don't think understood, because everybody has streaming these days and not regular cable HBO.
Now, what about situations that we got coming up here with the Penguin? That's going to stay under the Max brand. Do you think if they had it their way, they would easily move that over to the HBO because of the energy and the vibe of this very reminiscent of Supreme,
John, right? It's all about when are these shows ready to air?
Yeah.
They can do it down the line for Harry Potter and for Derry because those shows haven't been made yet, right? And whatever it is, they're going to clear, you know, like they're going to clear a path and say you're going to get, you know, Sunday at 9:00.
Right.
The thing with the Penguin, so they've already committed to a bunch of fall programming ostensibly on HBO.
Right.
So there's no room for it. So that's why that stays a Max, and the future shows like Lanterns are HBO now.
Yeah. We'll see how this all plays out, but I think it's a smart move. Like, you know, you don't really see studios course correct too often this quickly after making a mistake. So they do deserve credit, I think, for realizing what's going on, look at the landscape, and then making these changes now before more prestigious stuff gets tossed into the Max pile when it should be separated in the HBO pile, and they go and try and get awards. Because I think they're falling behind a little bit now, awards-wise, overall, except for Succession.
The other thing is that you have to keep in mind, John, these shows to the majority of the public don't exist.
Right? Yes, good point.
Right?
Yeah.
We pay attention to this, so we know there's a Harry Potter show in the works. We know there's Welcome to Derry and all this stuff. The only show that exists to them is the Penguin, because there's a trailer, and that has Max branding on it, and that's why it didn't change.
Right.
You know, you can change them when no one knows that they were fucking Max series in the first.
Right, when they're not looking. Yeah, of course. All right, so we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out for them, and we'll see what else gets put under the ban. What gets put under certain banners? Because the Noah Wiley thing, that makes so much sense that it's going to Max. That is not an HBO show. So I think we're going to see, like, in a weird way, a kind of indication of where your status is in Hollywood, whether your show is a Max show or an HBO show when you come under the WBD banner, for as long as it stays the WBD banner. So this is going to be an interesting indication of, and where does this Wonder Man show that's coming out, are they putting that on HBO? Are they putting that on Max? It's going to be interesting to see how these shows get separated going forward.
And that's kind of how it should be. It's not the same. There's not an equivalent with Peacock or Paramount Plus, because you can't get away with certain stuff on NBC and CBS. You can't say, oh, well, Mayor of Kingstown, if it was any good, it would be on CBS. You can't do that, right?
Yeah.
But with HBO and Max, they both allow all that stuff.
Right.
And I think you're right. There's a clear distinction. And I do... I was surprised that I mean, again, this was back in the day, in hindsight 2020, but Tokyo Vice really could have benefited from HBO branding.
Oh, Tokyo Vice absolutely would have benefited from the HBO. That's a great point. Someone, thank you for correcting me. Wonder Man, I was thinking of something else coming down the road. Any of the DC shows after Penguin, will they go to be Max or will they go to be HBO? I think that's going to let us know, as fans of comic book shows, like which. It's
not going to, Future Commandos is not going to be on HBO.
Commandos, right. Yeah.
But Lanterns is a big expensive sci-fi series. Yeah. I feel like that is like, this is our Westworld this quarter.
Right. Well, let's not leave just yet. Let's talk about the Potter story and the Lantern story.
Wait, everybody, let's give it up. Let's give it up for Johnny Rocha here.
I got one right.
Francesca Gardner, who was on a short list initially, presented as one of the 5 choices.
Right.
Jon Rocha, before anybody, came out and said it's going to be her, and sure enough, she got it, along with her Succession coworker Mark Mylod, who's going to be directing. She's the writer, he's the director. They'll both EP. Johnny, take it from here.
Yeah. What is this? This tells me that they are approaching this from a place of like, we want this to be quality, premium quality television. This is not, let's have fun with these characters, let's revisit this and tell a sweet story. This tells me they want to go deep into this lore, deep into this mythology, and really bring out the emotions of these characters and these storylines, and have a little more of an adult approach to this Harry Potter series. And that excites me. I didn't know Mark Mylod was going to be part of this. The fact that he's involved with this, and Francesca, that makes me very excited that we're going to get a Harry Potter that will appeal to maybe more of the adults along with the kids than maybe those movies did initially. What do you think?
Again, it doesn't even matter what I think. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not a Potter person. I saw the first movie and I saw the last movie to make sure he was dead or whatever.
I think you are the person, because are you going to take a chance on this series now because of the people involved?
No, because I wasn't a Succession guy either, right?
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it would really matter. It's just like, it's not my thing. And I don't think I should like be penalized for that. It's just,
no, of course not. Yeah.
And maybe one day I will give it a chance to be like, holy crap, like these were good. Like I did Lord of the Rings. I don't think I saw that first one or two on theatrical release, and I saw it on DVD, and I was like, okay, this is really good. I'll go see the third one with you guys.
Right.
So maybe you take a chance one day, but no, I don't have any plans to watch this.
Okay.
I mean, unless they cast like one of my favorite actors as Harry Potter or something. But
I mean, the teachers, brother, the teachers are going to be ripe for some of your favorite actors to probably step in and play these roles, much like they did in the movies. So this could be really interesting, especially with this fantastic new crop of British actors over the last few years. Could be fun to see them being part of the franchise. But let's turn to Lanterns here. What are your thoughts on this? Chris Mundy from Ozark. I think this is something you broke months ago on the show.
Yeah,
Chris Mundy was considered.
I think it had been in the ether. I don't know who said what first or whatever, but yeah, I think it said that Damon was going to be involved.
Damon and Tom King. So does this interest you? And I know you're not a comic book guy, but do you like this combo of people?
Yes, I would absolutely going to watch Lanterns. I mean, and I do like Lindelof. I loved what he did with Watchmen.
Yeah.
So totally down to check this out. Again, I've heard a little bit about Lindelof's Star Wars draft.
Yes.
From what I heard, like the first 10 pages were amazing. So
nice.
I'm a Lindelof guy. Okay, so Green Lantern the movie sucked with Ryan Reynolds, but like, what does that have to do with this?
Nothing, absolutely nothing to do with this. And you're gonna have. Do you like that they're approaching this with a young Jon Stewart, a young Black Green Lantern here, with an older Hal Jordan kind of guiding him into the role? Do you like this kind of dichotomy as the central focus of the show?
What I like is the mix of like, okay, it's a comic book thing, but it's going to be like True Detective. I mean, that's basically what it's going to be. It's going to be fucking True Detective, but with superheroes. And that's what I'm getting from it. Like a murder in the American heartland, like, them investigating a case. To me, it's just like all of the stuff that has worked for HBO.
Yeah.
Take these one out, like Mayor of Easttown or whatever it is. There's a whodunit element to it. It's fucking great. With comic books, with some of these movies and shows, they're almost too upfront about who the villain is. And I like having a little bit of mystery, which is what I think that this might have.
Yeah. I mean, True Detective Green Lantern is an interesting approach to this show, but these are the kind of writers to bring on if you want to have that element of it. And so I'm excited to see this combo of people. And I've got to watch Ozark. I've got to start that.
Ozark is fucking really good, dude.
Yeah. A lot of people tell me all the time how great that show is. I've got to step into Ozark and give that thing a chance.
By the way, take off one geek show, John.
What's that?
Take one geek show and watch the stuff that the rest of us adults watch.
All I watch is stuff to talk about on my channel. There is no other time.
I'm saying everybody just watches the same Star Wars and Marvel shows. Yes, Ozark is your time is much better spent.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, if you guys haven't seen the first episode of The Bear season 3, I know it's joked about all the time. That was fucking cinema. I would put that episode up against anything The Wire, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Sopranos, or any of the great shows have ever done. That episode was jaw-droppingly, artistically incredible. So just throwing that out there if you guys haven't started.
A couple of other things on these shows, though, like Lanterns. Yeah. Again, who were the stars of Lanterns originally? Do you remember?
God, no. Nathan Fillion, right? Guy Gardner, and somebody else. Who was it?
Finn Wittrock and Jeremy Irvine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right? Those guys could be the stars of a Max show.
Right.
And so that's what I wonder. It's like, was the Max branding affecting the talent that you could get for these shows?
You know how, dude, you go to lunch with agents, you go to dinner with agents and representatives, like they look at branding as a massive thing to connect their talent to. And I think you're 100% right, which is, I guess I'd forgotten that point. I think they look at it and they go, no, he's not going to go do Max, but he'll do an HBO show. because it's got that prestige
just
to it.
because it has the HBO name to it. It's the same show, same script, same team, but this is an HBO show and this is a Max series.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound the fucking same.
Right.
So I wonder if the talent had something to do with it. And then on Harry Potter, there was something else I wanted to say.
Okay.
I'm fucking blanking on what it was. I mean, it wasn't like terribly important.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I forget.
Okay. All right. It's been in development since 2021. Anything to say? Oh, the J.K. Rowling stuff. I mean, that's come and being brought up again. She's apparently having some kind of Twitter flame war with David Tennant now about his child. So, this just doesn't end, Jeff. What's the end result of? I'm like, how can they? But they can't buy her out. And so, what's the end result?
They could if she was open to a buyout.
Yeah, what $700 billion? I think that would be the only way you could buy her out, for God's sakes. We'll see what happens with those shows for sure here. Thanks to everybody who's joining us. Almost 300 you hanging out with us right now. We appreciate it. Please make sure you hit a like on the video. Leave your comments down below if you're watching later on after we've gone live. We want to hear what you think about the HBO Max stuff, your thoughts on Lanterns, and what we're going to get from the Potter series. And maybe the It prequel series now attracts a different level of talent now that it's going to be on HBO. That'll be interesting when that gets going as well. Let's move on to another big brand here, Jeff. Let's move on to Marvel. Hall H. This is happening. Kevin Feige is going to be presenting at Marvel at Hall H rather in about a month. It's amazing they just announced it. They are going to be at Hall H. This is going to be a big deal, I imagine, considering all the punches Marvel has taken. Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out, I think, the same weekend as Comic-Con. And then you've got shows like the Agatha show. You've got Secret Wars coming up, 5 and 6. You've got the Wonder Man show, as I mentioned earlier, that's being worked on. Fantastic Four is coming as well. So what do you make of the fact that they announced it about a month out? And what do you think we're going to see? Are they going to address the Kang situation? What do you think this is going to be presentation-wise? Because as you mentioned in a newsletter, the Deadline article says Fantastic Four might start shooting in December instead of the next week after Comic-Con, which is what had been reported before.
Well, first of all, I think that that Deadline line was just a flub. I think that was an error.
Okay.
Which happens all the time. I think that they may have meant to write that it finishes shooting in December, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
That makes sense to me, that if it would start from July and end around the holidays in December.
Still, that's a quick turnaround to have it done by July or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. It is still a quick turnaround. And like I said, do we really think Blade is going to open at this point? Why wouldn't you just move it and, like, again, to distance it from Superman? That just seems like a lot of like, hey, this is the next chapter of our how do you do that the same month? Yeah. What if you're not as good? I mean, anyways, what do I think we're going to see from Marvel? God, I'm sitting on a rumor that's so insane.
What?
But I can't put it out there. I forget if I've actually asked Marvel about it.
Okay.
When I ask my Marvel insider, they laugh. they say no way. But like, I can't shake it off. I can't forget it because it came from someone who's given me good stuff before.
Is it Jordan Peele for Blade?
Nothing. Okay. No. But do I think it's going to be? Here's what I've heard.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a pretty crazy Hall H.
Wow. You mean the Marvel presentation, or you mean Hall H?
And here's the other thing I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Jamie's reminding me that I did ask, and that Marvel did deny that. Okay, that rumor. But again, tough to ignore. I heard that Marvel's Comic-Con is going to be movies.
All movies, no shows.
I can't say no shows.
Okay.
But movie centric for sure. Not just like movie heavy, like 51-49, like movie centric.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it may very well be all movies. Although that would be a little weird. And I'm told that the television stuff would be D23.
Well, that makes sense. That kind of makes sense. HBO, Hall H, D23 Max.
The shows are on Disney Plus,
Right.
So that's what I've heard, that it's going to be kind of split between movies and television, because you don't want to repeat yourself, obviously, and just do the same thing at D23 that you did at Marvel. So
yeah, which Star Wars has been caught out doing a couple of times recently. So yeah, I hear you that it might look bad. So then what do you think is going to be here? Do you think we're going to reset the expectations of Marvel? Like, Iger coming out saying only 2 to 3 movies.
I think we'll see the Fantastic Four come out. I think you'll see stuff from Thunderbolts and from Brave New World.
Oh, right? From Captain America, right? Okay, yeah.
You'll see stuff from those 2 movies, and maybe they'll bring out the Fantastic Four to say hello and answer some questions and stuff.
Okay.
They're about to start filming like a few days later.
Right.
I think that Marvel would love to announce a new director on Blade, obviously.
Yes.
I think Marvel would love to announce the Avengers director. And I still don't think it's going to be Sean Levy.
Okay.
And I don't think it's going to be the Russos.
Okay.
I've heard that the Russos wanted it.
What? Really?
I heard they want to come back.
That's heartbreaking if they don't make it the Russos. That's like a fucking home run, man.
If they get the Russos?
If they got the Russos, that would be...
Here's what I'm going to say that ties into it. Okay. So there's a report that came out today. I believe Jordan Rooney put it out there. I haven't actually read the article. I only saw the headline, so forgive me. He said that Brave New World cost $370 million. I'm pretty sure that. I mean, you guys in the chat can fact check me. But I believe Rooney reported a $370 million budget for Captain America: Brave New World, which doesn't shock me given all the problems and the reshoots and all that stuff on that.
God.
And here's what I've heard: literally the same $370 million figure.
Yeah.
The Russo brothers' Electric State.
Ooh.
Because remember, people were saying that was 300 million.
Yeah.
300 million. I heard it's actually 370.
Oh my God. Why?
Again, if you're Marvel, yes, it's Avengers 5. You're already breaking the bank on talent, right? Wow. Because you're getting 66 people back, I think it is.
Yeah.
Do you really spend the money to bring the Russos back when they also can't control a budget on a movie like The Electric State?
That's a fair point.
Right? You're trying to rein in budgets here. No matter, even if you're making Avengers, you're trying to rein in budgets.
Yeah.
And if they just made The Electric State for 370, I mean, I don't know how you give it to them. As good a movie as they may make, and as good a track record as they may have, I think you're trying to shed costs, and they're also expensive.
Yeah, I'm looking at Jordan Rumey's post here on the World of Real. And yeah, he's saying it's 350 million is what 350 to 375 is what he is hearing.
I thought I literally saw the figure 370, so forgive me, but
350 to 375. So it's massive either way,
Sure, of course.
Wow. It had a budget of 275 before the reshoots began. And now, according to a contact of his, they're deeply indebted in the current Brave New World reshoots. And they're saying it's between 75 to 100 million for the reshoots. It's like they're shooting a brand new movie is the quote.
Again, these numbers aren't confirmed.
Right.
You can guarantee that every studio, no matter what is said, they're saying it's lower. That's like day one of reporter school is the top thing that you cannot trust a studio on is a budget. Yeah,
true. Very true. Very true.
That's the first thing they tell you.
Wow, that is a lot. Do you think we'll get a Dr. Doom announcement for Fantastic Four?
No.
Wow.
Possible? It's possible. I told you that decision is going to come into production.
Yes.
Well into production. And so I don't think if Comic-Con's before production starts, no, I don't think so.
But will you address what I asked earlier? Do you think they'll use this as a reset? Like, here's what to expect from us. I know we've come out before.
We overpromised and underdelivered.
Right.
That's exactly what. Yes, John. They literally overpromised.
Yep.
And then underdelivered. Right. Whereas now you have to underpromise.
Right.
So you're only going to get 2 movies a year.
Right.
But overdeliver because we're going to make those 2 movies fucking count.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just going to be, well, we've got 4 movies that we got to make this year. Snuggle Pants. You're the new character who's getting their own movie. I don't know.
Yeah. But
some of these characters getting their own shows. It's like, who? What? Huh?
Right. Well, look, like I said, they've been on their heels. There's been some minefields over the last couple of years. Any chance that they bring out someone like Robert Downey Jr. to voice over the panel or to introduce the panel or to host it with Feige? Do you anticipate Chris Evans? And do you think Scarlett, anyone? Do you think any of the old crew? Hemsworth is still in the crew, so still in the thing. Ruffalo is as well. But do you anticipate that we'll get that at all, or any Paul Bettany sighting for that Vision series? Do you anticipate any of that, or will it just be we're going to focus on the current crop of things?
I don't anticipate any of that necessarily. I mean, it all depends. Vision is a series, though, so that I guess they would maybe save him for D23.
Right.
No, I don't think that you'll get X-Men cast yet. I would be very surprised if that was the case. I mean, you may get new dates.
Okay.
You may get a date shuffle in there.
So then what do they need to do? Like, what? Look, you're looking at it. Let's say Jeff Sneider, Marvel brings you in and says, what do we need to do? What do we need to accomplish with this panel by the time it's over to get the social media to be positive and the reaction of the fans to be positive in the room?
I think it's not that the audience rushed them. It's not like hey, don't rush us.
Right.
It's that I think they have to take responsibility. Okay.
Ooh. Do you think they'll address the Kang by addressing the Kang thing, or no?
No, that's
something else.
What responsibility do they have in the Kang thing?
I mean, they're either going to address whether they're going to replace him or bring in Dr. Doom or anything like that. You don't think they're going to address any of that?
I don't know if I would there. No,
okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think they have to take responsibility for, frankly, the creative hasn't been very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And they need to reassure people that, hey, when we make a movie, we're going to make it count and we're going to make it good. And we were rushing before, and we, this machine maybe started going a little too fast and it got out of our control. And now we're going to narrow things down. It's going to be about quality over quantity, because I think for a time it became quantity over quality.
Right.
And I think that's the message that they need to communicate to people.
Okay.
Is that, you know what? Blade's going to fucking come whenever it comes.
Yeah.
And when it comes, it's going to be good. So fucking wait for it.
Yeah.
That's the message. Like, as terrible as that, they'd be like, oh my God, Disney, F words. That's really what you have to say to these people. Yeah. It is, we got you. Just because we know that when we're heading down a bad path and when we just have to make a release date, they fucking know.
Yeah.
But they have a release date to make, and that's out of their control.
You
gotta release the movie that you made.
We opened too many restaurants. Now we're going to strip it on down.
Yes.
But let us cook, because you're going to love the meal once you get it.
Exactly.
Is that basically it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna see less of us, but when you see us, we're gonna look like a fucking 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw some people speculating maybe Young Avengers. I don't think they're going to touch Young Avengers. I think it want nothing to do with it right now. I think it's very much about establishing X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Disney show shit. Anyway, so that's not a fucking movie. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's take a break here as we're close to the 30-minute mark, Jeff, and we'll come back with some other stories to talk about here on the other side of this break. And please remember, Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter here if they want to do it after
Sneider.com. If you guys like the font of wisdom that you get here for an hour and a half a week, I mean, you could be getting it 20 minutes every day.
It's true.
Listen, I just try to do something different every day that the trades don't have. And I think last night was a good example.
Yeah, the little bits and bobs. It's always fun to read your takes. And it's always, as much as I know Jeff, the bits and bobs gives you a window about how much more stuff he is watching and monitoring and whatever. So yeah, you guys should definitely sign up for the newsletter. And if you're watching us here live or watching later, please remember to subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button so you never miss an episode of The Hot Mic. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. All right, Jeff, let's veer away from the big studios. Let's talk about some of these trailers that dropped over the last few days. We had a NOSFERATU trailer from Robert Eggers. We had a Here trailer from Robert Zemeckis. We had the HERETIC trailer with Hugh Grant. And we got the Red One trailer that dropped yesterday. And today, this morning, we got this what is it? Flight Risk trailer from Mel.
John, are you insane? What is wrong with you?
That trailer was horrific. Horrific, man. What are you talking about?
That movie deserves to gross $1 billion.
You're insane. It's completely miscast. He's wearing a bald cap and doing a terrible Southern accent. Topher Grace, when's the last time Topher Grace put any butts in seats? Nonsense. Michelle Dockery, nonsense. I like Michelle. I love her in Downton Abbey, but this is a weird collection of people. And I found myself going, this is the guy that directed Braveheart? Really? So please talk me out of it.
Perfect B-movie programmer that they used to make in the 90s.
Yes.
That I love these fucking kinds of movies. I can't wait to see this. It's wild that there is really no mention of Mel Gibson's name anywhere. You have to be aware that he's the director.
Just as director of Braveheart. That's what Apocalypto, yeah.
Kids these days don't know who the fuck directed Braveheart.
No, you're right.
Fucking Apocalypto. That's not on streaming on Peacock. So, yeah. But I think it looks like, as people are saying, glorious trash.
Oh my God. This is beneath Mel. This is beneath Mel to direct this stuff. This is like you went, you know what? Bloodfather was a fun time. Let me do a Bloodfather 2 and put it in the air. This does not make any sense.
Lethal Weapon 5 is coming. Lethal Weapon 5 after this is coming.
After seeing this, I don't know if I'd give him Lethal Weapon 5 now.
I was Lionsgate. I'd put all my fucking marketing power into this movie. It looks.
You've heard, but the reason I bring it up because you've heard it that it's good, or you've heard, or did you see it, or what's the energy?
No, I really like the trailer. I liked it when I saw it at Comic-Con. I think I like cheesy thrillers like this. Go look at my blog spot and actually look at the movies that I watch. I like this kind of stuff. This is a guilty pleasure to me. Yeah. Maybe it belongs on VOD more than a theater, but is this the kind of movie I want to see with people that I want to see in it? Sure.
Fair.
Dockery doesn't really do much for me, but I think the idea of Topher Grace is like a little mob accountant, like Weasel, who is going to rat to the to the DOJ.
Hey, I'm a hitman. What's up? I got a ball cap. What? All right, so let's move on then. What about these other films, man? What are your thoughts on Heretic, on Here, on Nosferatu, on Red One? What are your thoughts on?
You pick.
Okay, fine. Let's do Here. I want to talk about that because I watched that for the first time today before we started to do our show, and I completely misjudged that. I thought it was just going to be a relationship film, and Zemeckis trying to do something simple with Tom and Robin. Completely misjudged. I should have done a reaction to this trailer because this trailer blew me the fuck away, man. It is what do you call it, Jeff? It's a what's this called? Still camera? What's it called?
A fixed camera. It has a fixed perspective, right? The camera never moves throughout the whole movie.
Right.
You're just seeing time elapse from this one point of view, which I think is a pretty fascinating gimmick. I guess Zemeckis said that that's how they used to do it in the old days of movies before montage was invented, the idea of montage. But
because there were heavy cameras that were not easy to move. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, I really like this gimmick, if that's how we'll refer to it. I think it's interesting the movie just to see the events in a family's life over the in their living room and a little segment of their kitchen. Yeah. It's interesting to me. The de-aging stuff looks great. Hanks and Wright. It's from the writer of Forrest Gump. I'm down.
Yeah, they don't shy away from it because they have close-ups of Robin de-aged and Tom Hanks de-aged. And there was even a shot there that I remember of Bosom Buddies Tom Hanks popping up in one of those quick snippets there. Yeah, this trailer blew me away. This is like The Fountain or Tree of Life or Lucy, like this vibe of going all the way to the beginning and then catching up and then seeing the different stages of their life. And then right at the end, it seems like she has Alzheimer's and he's reminding her of where they were. So this is going to be, if Zemeckis gets this right, this is going to be a devastating film. And I think this is going to make a lot of money because there is older adults who will go to the theater for films like this. And there's a large number of adults with older children who will go see a movie like this. So this looks fantastic, dude.
I don't know that it's going to be a blockbuster unless it does become like a word of mouth, like juggernaut, awards contender and all that. But I think I did the Oscar predictions the day before this trailer came out, and I wished I had it back because I might be predicting this for a Best Picture nomination.
Wow.
I mean, I got to see it, but it looked like it had the stuff.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to Heretic. What are your thoughts on that film with Hugh Grant there?
Yeah, it was a blast, and I love the idea of playing off of a sense that we don't have, right? Which is the sense of smell when we go to the movies, right? But you could smell that blueberry pie, couldn't you? Through that candle. Like it was to play on that, it takes a talented writer. I mean, the trailer cutters themselves are very good, but I think it looks like a blast. Like this is evil Hugh Grant. Who doesn't want to see that? Yeah. A24, has a great eye for horror, and I thought this almost stole the week. I mean, it looks fantastic.
Well, why don't I remember Beck & Woods? They're right. They wrote Quiet Place, right? And what did they do?
Exactly. They did 65 last year, which was not very good. And I really like the guys, and they know that. And I'm honest with them about that. Like I wasn't really a fan of 65, but I think this looks awesome.
Yeah. The guys who wrote A Quiet Place 2, The Boogeyman, which I thought was good. I liked Boogeyman for what it was. I like that. Yeah.
Isn't this the same actress?
Oh yeah, I think it is. You're right.
Sophie Thatcher, right?
Yes, Sophie Thatcher. Yes, Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East. Yeah. It looks super creepy. I like that it's because initially when I started watching the trailer, I was like, oh, I've seen this before. The old guy's gonna trap the young girls. But then when they threw in the religion angle, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Now this is an interesting commentary within a horror film of what this is all about and what the
it had a unique and original angle.
Yeah.
What was the first one? We'll save Red one for last. What was the first one? I forget.
Nosferatu, the Robert Eggers one.
Dude, I mean,
right? Yeah.
Dude. I think that's a Best Picture nominee too, and I know pundits don't have that in the they're always biased against horror. This is the kind of horror movie I see voters embracing. It looks stunning. This is
art horror, and this could overcome that Academy issue with horror that they always have. This looks fantastic, and I've seen both. I've seen the original, obviously, and then the Klaus Kinski, Werner Herzog version, which is really out there. This one looks like a whole new approach to this story that is engaging, but still honoring the bones of the original German expressionist horror film. So I love this idea, man. And
Nightmare Alley got nominated, didn't it?
What? Say that again.
Didn't Nightmare Alley get nominated?
Yeah, right. The Del Toro film. Yeah.
That's wild. If that movie got nominated, this movie's going to get nominated.
Fair point.
I think it looks tremendous.
People like The Lighthouse, right? I don't know if they like.
I wasn't a big Witch or Lighthouse guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought The Northman was his best movie.
I love The Northman. Yeah.
Dude, The Northman was badass.
Good bit of trivia. The last time Jeff beat me in a trivia contest, it was a Robert Eggers question that sank me. The Witch.
Oh, The Lighthouse.
It was the goat. The name of the goat.
Oh, Black Phillip. That's right.
Black Phillip. Yeah. All right. So then, Red one. Let's get to it, man. Oh my God, this Christmas film with The Rock, Chris Evans, and J.K. Simmons and Lucy Liu. Jeff, if you want to go first, please. What do you?
Obviously, I heard for a long time that this movie did not turn out very well, and then we just saw it for our own eyes. I see what they were going for as far as this world building, and there's evil snowmen, and I mean, it's kind of clever on the page, but on the big, it just plays so goofy. I kind of couldn't believe what I was watching, and Chris Evans, dude.
Yeah,
he needs to either fire his agent, or it explains why he got his agent on the phone. It was get me in, Celine Song's next movie, the director of Past Lives. I got to do something to save my career because this is not good.
Yeah, I don't understand the choices he has made since he became Captain America, and it's fascinating because maybe it's like Eli Manning, right? You're like, I don't get how you won 2 Super Bowls. Because I've seen you play in other seasons and you don't match up to what you did in those 2 Super Bowls. And in essence, Chris Evans in Marvel is essentially Eli Manning beating the Patriots twice. Everything else doesn't line up or stack up to what he does as Captain America. And it's kind of confounding when you see him in these movies. I mean, Knives Out is good at Knives Out, right? But that's an ensemble piece. But Ghosted, all these other choices recently, and he looks terrible in this movie. The comedic timing is not there. He looks completely disinterested. And the Rock is coming off as The Rock comes off. But Do we need a slap fights contest in a Christmas movie, Jeff?
Listen, there are obviously various factors that go into people taking roles, right?
Yeah.
Do they need money, right? Are they available when it's casting? Do they want to work with somebody involved in the production? Did they like the script? Is their agent forcing them into it because they get a producing credit, or or is they're forcing them into it because they get a producer credit? It's stuff like that. But you're right. His choices are just bizarre. And it's like a matter of not knowing. You have to know who you are as an actor.
Yeah, right.
It's not to say that you can't change or develop new skills or whatever over the years as people look at you differently. But like, you're not Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Yes. You're not Ryan Reynolds.
Not Ryan Reynolds. That's what he's trying to be these last few movies. And I'm like, this doesn't work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like I'm not sure Ryan Reynolds could do something like Defending Jacob, which is where I'm just like calling that out as I think Chris Evans' best work in the last decade or whatever.
Yeah, you could.
I thought he was great in that Apple series. I don't know that Ryan Reynolds could pull off a dramatic Apple series like that. Right. And Chris Evans, maybe you should be looking to do more drama and less of this like goofball second banana shtick.
Yeah, yeah. What's that one? What's my number or what's your number? I mean, he was good in
his career, but like Gray Man, he's like guy behind Gosling. I'm like,
Ghosted. Even Pain Hustlers wasn't that good.
Yeah, that's like, and again, it's Emily Blunt, it's Yates. Like you think, oh, this could be something special, and then it turns out to not be. It's just a pretty generic Netflix movie.
Yeah, I would say Gifted and probably Snowpiercer are his best stuff that he's done outside of Marvel. With Defending Jacob as a series being the best stuff he's done outside of Marvel TV.
Right. So he was good at that. That's working with the right director. So it's like that's why you get involved with Celine Song, because you got to trust yourself in the hands of these directors that they're going to come up with something good. I
mean, something happened in this movie because The Rock ran to Benny Safdie and Chris Evans ran to Celine Song. So they must have clearly had some kind of reaction to this film. They're like, we need to go do something good.
There are these look in the mirror moments, and I think Red One will prove to be one of them if Red Notice already wasn't for DJ.
I don't care what Prime Video says the figures are or whatever.
You get a ton of views. But.
This is horrific, man. This money is just pissed away. Absolutely pissed away. And it's sad because Jake Kasdan, now people go like, Jake Kasdan did the Jumanji. I think he did the sequel. The sequel was not good. The first one was good. The sequel was okay. And this feels more like the sequel than it does the first Jumanji movie that he did, not the first Jumanji in this franchise.
This feels artificial.
Yes, right. Yes.
Artificial.
Right. And I'm going to tell you right now, J.K. Simmons is the villain. Santa's absolutely the villain. You don't hire J.K. and turn him into a damsel in distress. That's not what you do. So he's behind this.
You think that's the twist?
Yes, I think that's the twist. He kidnapped himself. Just the way he reacted to The Rock getting his face licked by the reindeer, he was like, "Oh, your favorite guy is here." That's jealousy, and that tells me there's. Yeah, exactly. That tells me there's
ones without me.
I'm just saying I'm going to say he's evil. I'm just saying Santa's jealous, and he's doing something here, and he's got to figure out what it is. So I'm just going to throw that in there. All right. So, any other trailers we need to discuss before we move on, Jeff? That you saw that you want to hit?
That was enough trailer time for today's episode.
Okay, that's enough trailer time. All right, let's move into some other stuff here as we're still in the break. What do we want to say here? What do you feel you want to talk? Why don't you pick a topic here? You sent me a bunch of topics here. Do you want to talk about the Blazing Saddles? Do you want to have that conversation about On the Heels of Space?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. All right, so like I wrote a piece this week. It was Jamie's idea. Jamie gives me a lot of good ideas, and it's like we were just talking after the Spaceballs announcement. If this door is open, right, where Mel Brooks is now revisiting his classics. I know that they redid The Producers with Will Ferrell and everything, but like I don't know. I'm talking about Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs. If the door is still open with Spaceballs sequel, could somebody have the balls to do Blazing Saddles these days? I mean, it would be hugely controversial, especially given its rampant use of the N-word.
Yes,
but like Tarantino gets away with it. I think in the right context, it can be used. It all depends. But if anybody could get away with it, wouldn't it be the South Park guys?
Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Yeah, that's probably the only people that could get away with it, to be honest with you, because of what people who know South Park like mentally know what they're walking into when they go see a movie directed by these guys. So yeah, I think that's an excellent choice, man. It's probably, you could probably count on your one hand, 5 people who could maybe, or duos who could pull this off. Because the lines you have to walk here, trying to both offend but also teach at the same time and highlight these things. And certainly our idea of racial relations has changed so much since Blazing Saddles. That could be an interesting exploration as well, as you talk about the N-word. Like what's the society things that they could take down in this film that harken back to the original but appeal more to what's going on in our society today, more topical, so to speak. Could be interesting. And how they approach the female characters as well.
It doesn't have to be a white guy either. Could be a Chris Rock or Jordan Peele or even a Gerard Carmichael, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Or he could play the Cleavon Little role or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying, does Spaceballs open that door if Brooks is now, because he's producing the Spaceballs sequel, he's involved, like would he give his blessing for somebody to do Blazing Saddles? It's a Warner Brothers movie. And I look at who has balls in this town. I mean, Tom Rothman at Sony has balls. David Zaslav and DeLuca have balls.
Did you any of these films that we saw recently, like the Clone Tyrone or the Blackening? Do you think either of the? Would you think a black point of view on this could be a new interesting?
Right. That's why I named those filmmakers. Yes, I do. I think it could be even more interesting to have. Again, we think of Jordan Peele as like, oh, well, he's a horror director. Why would he do Blazing Saddles? Guy had a sketch show.
Yeah,
he's a comedian.
Jordan Peele,
like, why wouldn't Jordan Peele or Chris Rock? Again, I understand that, but Jordan Peele, I think, is a more accomplished filmmaker.
Yeah,
would be the perfect choice to redo Blazing Saddles. You know,
I like Jordan Peele as an idea. Jeremy Miller says Donald Glover. Donald Glover. Do you think Donald Glover would be interesting? Maybe because of what he did with Atlanta. That could be fascinating.
Potentially, I would go with somebody a little bit older.
Okay.
Maybe Blazing Saddles meant a little bit more to them. And I don't know what it means to Donald. I just know Donald and I went to college together. Like, I didn't grow up a big Blazing Saddles. I was never a big Mel Brooks guy, but I didn't have an older brother showing me stuff.
Right.
You know?
Right. It could be fascinating. The thing is, it's a Western, so already you got a strike against you because Westerns don't really do that well anymore. And then it's a commentary on society. I think if it's either Jordan Peele or Trey Parker or Matt Stone, then people who would normally want to shit on it might take a second glance at it or might pause on that and give it a chance, as opposed to maybe another director being attached to it. So yeah, I think it's possible, but it'd be a hell of a minefield to walk through to get it done and do it.
But just because it's a minefield, does that mean people don't try? You know, you
no,
don't
of course not. Of course,
right?
Yeah.
People throwing out names like Boots Riley, Jewel Taylor, Spike Lee, Cord Jefferson. The fact that we even have a list like this
that's a good
is amazing. This is a good thing.
Good thing.
Yeah. And so when everyone's like, no, there's not enough this, there's not enough that, I'm like, dude, I don't know what world people are living in. There is. Look around.
Who are these people? All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that, if they even open the door to that one to do, because not only is the subject material, but also the level of quality, right? If that one's still such a classic. I remember a few years ago at the AFI Fest, I was in the room with Mel Brooks as they screened Blazing Saddles. He was sitting one row in front of me, and it was an awesome experience to laugh with Mel Brooks at his film. And so I would love to see that. It still was revered. It's sold out, that screening. So people still love that movie.
What are studio executives like? Do they have these kinds of like conversations, or are they all just like buttoned up, like drinking Fiji waters? Like, what is? I don't know who they're hiring to think these days. They need thinkers.
Yes. Well, they all want to keep their money, bro. So they're safe. Some take chances. Most of them, from my experience, and I mean from my experience, like outside of the situation, they're very in love with their opinions and believe that they know the right thing and scoff at other people.
So do I, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, fair point. All right, let's move on to Beef season 2. I like Beef. I like this idea. What's the casting that you're hearing for Beef season 2, Jeff? And is this a controversial approach? Because they seem to be circling maybe Anne Hathaway and Jake Gyllenhaal. Or what are you hearing? Or maybe Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan. What are you hearing on this?
Yeah, the news story, Johnny, was that Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan are going to replace Jake Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
Oscar and Carey and Charles Melton and Kaylee Spaney. And it's about 2 feuding couples. Now, I think that's really great casting. I mean, I love Oscar and Carey Mulligan. They were in Drive together. They're also in Inside Llewyn Davis together, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Anne and Jake would have been even better, obviously. These two are probably a little bit cheaper. But I think that the controversy lies in, like, people were like, this is part of what made Beef so special, and part of why it swept the Emmys was it was like you rarely see Asians get those kinds of roles. 2
Asian leads in this kind of complex story.
3-dimensional, nuanced characters, and they're allowed to be angry.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing.
They don't play to the stereotypes that you've seen sometimes with Asian characters.
And I think people are maybe a little frustrated. Not that, obviously Charles Melton is diverse and Oscar Isaac is diverse. And Carey Mulligan just played a diverse person in Maestro.
Let's not talk about it.
I think people felt a sense of ownership. Like there's, within the Asian community, and they're like, and fucking we've been replaced.
Yeah, I mean, which is what I brought up to you, and you kind of scoffed at a few weeks ago when I brought it up to you, and you said it doesn't matter, it's good actors, but like I think it does matter. Yeah, so seeing it now, but I like that this cast makes me more comfortable with it because, like I said, you got a Latino guy, you've got a person of color in Melton, so how is that going to work? What is their relationships? And then you got 2 white women who are possibly married to them. So what is their approach to this thing as white women in this whole situation? That's fascinating too, as we've become more aware of calling out white women and their approaches to things over the last few years. That could be a fascinating element to throw into Beef 2 season 2, because this is the thing. If it started out with Asian, doesn't mean that it only is going to tell Asian stories. It's about highlighting these stories and the fascinating approaches. So maybe next season is like 2 gay couples or a gay couple of different. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This kind of thing. So let's explore it all,
If I chafed before it's because and I stand by that. These 2 are great actors, and we have to be happy with that at the end of the day. I just did want to acknowledge that there was, especially now that Netflix had a second chance at it.
Yeah.
And obviously, yes, Oscar is Guatemalan.
Yeah. So okay, so we'll see what happens. I like this idea, and once it kind of comes down, because Beef 2, great. I love Beef. I love the first originals of the first season. So let's see what happens here. All right. You also have on this list that this gender neutral Oscar categories. What's this all about? Are you hearing this? Is this popping back up again?
Bill Kramer did an interview recently. He just extended his contract as the head of AMPAS, the Film Academy.
Right.
And he said that they have people exploring the idea of gender neutral categories. And it's like, listen, I'm all for diversity, inclusion, all that stuff. But like at some point, certain traditions must be honored. We don't need to rearrange everything. I just don't understand it. Like we're not at that point yet. And I do think that it would be bad. It would be bad for the Oscars, and the agents will never let it happen either.
You don't think so?
They'd go from 4 acting awards to 2.
Well, yeah, but I think they would increase it to 10, wouldn't they? Category? I mean, nominees?
Those are nominations, perhaps, right. But I'm saying there would only be 1 winner. It would be best lead performer, best supporting performer.
I think quietly.
You could give 2 awards technically, but like, what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing?
Fair point. I mean, quietly, I think they're also going like, well, this will save us time on the ceremony. I think there's also an element of that in combining categories. You have a shorter ceremony, and isn't that the biggest complaint that people have had over the last few years is how long these things go?
If you're non-binary, which is what we're talking about, right? It's like just because you win Best Actor or Best Actress, it doesn't mean that you're a man or a woman. You're choosing one or the other. You're still non-binary. This is just the name of an award that you won, and you should be able to choose where you run.
Right.
I still think you should have to choose.
Yeah.
I think that we need to revamp the entire thing. I don't.
Okay. I see why, and I see the logic in it, and I see the reasons why they would explore it. I am still somewhat traditional in that way. I do like the separation, and not even for the non-binary situation. It's just what I just think what you're looking at here is you have to highlight this thing, and then you walk into more trouble when, let's say, men win over the next 5 years, and you nominate 5 women. Then it becomes, well, why is the Academy only letting men win, or this kind of thing? Or if 5 women,
more trouble.
Yeah, exactly. If 5 women in a row, then you're going to see the quiet push of men who are going to be like, what the fuck? Why am I not winning? Or why is it only 5 women that are winning? So it opens the door to a quagmire of shit, and I don't understand the reason. Now with director, I think, because it's always been that way. You don't want to do female male. I like the mixture. And so with actor, actress, or supporting actress, I think it should stay separate. And then, as you said, the person who is nominated can choose what category.
However you want. Yeah. You know, again, I want non-binary folks and trans actors. I want all these people too. I'm just saying the rules don't need to be rewritten for everyone because we've invented a new, another sexuality gets on a checkbox on the job applications that I fill out all day long.
Yeah. Like I understand the situation, but if you want to be part of this community, these are the two for now. And then as more non-binary actors come in and they become a bigger part of the force of the talent and the creativity and the roles being written, then you have more of a claim to either combine the categories or create a non-binary best actor or best actor, however you want to say it. Yeah. Then I'm 100. Then you've got it. It's not saying no progress. It's saying wait till progress is at the point where you have to catch up now as an award show and create the category. There's nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you're in essence saying best actor, best actress. There's a reason one goes in front of the other. You're tacitly saying that the male actor award has more importance than the female actor award, even by a little bit. And so these are these things that you look at when you look at a ceremony. So you kind of have to buy into it by being a part of it. Yeah.
That we have to be respectful of each other's communities. Okay. We have to be respectful and inclusive of each other's communities. And that goes both ways.
Right.
Okay. So it's like, listen, this is how things are done here. Yeah. You guys can have this community and you can be a part of our community, but like, this is how things are done here that don't need to change, I think.
Right. Yeah. Cause I mean, look, if you like saying animation, right? For a long time, best animated feature film, there was like 3 fucking movies that were ever nominated. Like, okay, is it really that big of a deal? And now there's much more. So now when you win it, I think it carries more weight because there's much more competition. And same thing will happen here. If you were to create a best non-binary actor and like 2 people were nominated because there's only so many roles, then it wouldn't carry the weight. How much
competition is there for an animated movie? There's like, what, 20 or 30 animated movies a year?
Right. Yeah. So you get in the top 5.
300 movies a year, like Best Picture. I mean, come on, guys. It's a great Oscar to win. I have nothing against animation. We have the biggest movie of the year is animated.
Yeah.
There's been years where an animated movie has been my favorite movie of the year. But
and then you start opening the door, don't you, Jeff? Like, okay, hey, how come there's not the best Black actor of the year, the best Latino actor of the year, and Latino actress of the year? It becomes that, because then you say, well, why don't we have a separate category? Because we should be getting as many opportunities. We should be getting. So you start opening the door to actually expanding rather than constricting. And I think that's where it becomes overwhelming, and people in the end are going to tune out even more, and that's not what you want. That's not what you want.
I think it was Andrew Scott that did an interview this week. He did it. He said it beautifully. He said it better than I've heard anyone say it, which is that we're separate. It's like we're separating ourselves. We're too into identity politics, and we're separating ourselves and segregating ourselves more than we need to.
Yeah.
Somebody tracked down that Andrew Scott stuff because he really put it quite beautifully, where, again, if I'm applying for a press credential at Sundance, why do you need to know my sexuality? Why do you need to know who I'm sleeping with? It's fucking crazy. I'm asking for a press credential to Sundance. Why do you need to know what is in my bed? What the fuck?
But I will say that Sean Penn is off base on this. If you saw Sean Penn's post where he's saying like, no straight actors can play gay. Nonsense. People came out with all kinds of examples over the last few years where straight actors have played gay characters. So just kind of ridiculous, some of the stuff that's out there. I think you're right. I think what he said is Andrew Scott is much more eloquent, much more on point, and understanding what's happening in the world. And so, yeah, that's a fair point. All right. So, he says he rejects the openly gay label I think is one of the things that he was talking about recently. Yeah. What did you think of, again, what's the trans actress's name? Hunter Schafer. What did you think of what Hunter Schafer said when they said, like, they don't want to just be seen as a trans?
We talked about that.
Yeah. Did we? Okay. I'm sorry about that.
I'm not surprised. Why can't they just exist?
Yeah.
Why must they be representative of the trans community?
Right.
Yes.
You can, part of choosing to do it is also part of choosing not to do it. Like if you choose to represent, that's great. But if you choose not to represent, that must also be honored. At the end of the day.
Right. Listen, it's that I just want to be me. I didn't ask to be a role model.
Charles Barkley. Sir Charles.
That's what I say. The kids who don't want Sneider boys and girls out there.
Ba-ba-da-boom. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll hit a couple more stories, then we'll get into your Streamlabs Super Chats because we got to get on with our days. We'll be right back right after this. All right, Jeff, we got to Jennifer Lawrence news. We've got Jon Watts news, Nobody 2 director news, the Yahtzee strike, A24, Disney execs. What do you want to talk about, man? What's a bone in your, what's in your spurs here? What do you want to talk about?
I mean, the A24 thing I thought was interesting. They got their valuation rose from 2.5 billion to 3.5 billion.
Wow.
And that's over the last 2 years. So they gained $1 billion in value over the last 2 years, which is, interesting.
Was Civil War a big reason for that, do you think?
I mean, again, I guess you are worth whatever someone is willing to pay for you.
True.
I don't know how they justify saying, we're worth $1 billion more over the last 2 years, but I'm sure they have their formula or whatever.
Thrive Capital is the one who invested $75 billion to put it in the 3.5 billion range.
That's Josh Kushner.
Right.
Jared Kushner's brother.
Yeah, right. Josh Kushner, not Jared. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Josh Kushner is married to Carly Kloss, the supermodel. Yes. They're relaunching Life magazine together. But the question is, what is A24 planning to use this money for? Right? They didn't actually say, but the idea is, I think, that they're going to be expanding into music and so A24 vinyl maybe for collectors, and A24 would be doing more books. They already publish books that they sell on the website. They have really a great products team that sells cool merch and shit like that. Right. And you're going to see them spending that money on bigger budgets, right? They're trying to make more commercial movies. Smashing Machine,
right? They lock them, yeah.
Right. Again, if you look at Best Actor this year, I think Best Actor is going to be pretty weak.
Yeah.
So there was the thinking. It was like, oh, could we get Dwayne Johnson a nomination for this?
Right.
But from what I've been told lately, the UFC is going to be so involved in marketing that movie because it's such a big movie for A24 from a financial standpoint.
So, yeah.
They'll hold it till next year because they can't just decide on a whim, right? The UFC needs time to get its marketing machine going.
That's some weird bedfellows. Utterly weird bedfellows. A24 and UFC. That's like the jock and the fucking school nerd coming together to work on a project.
Dwayne Johnson in A24. It's no different, really.
I know. Trust me, I know.
Right. He needed to do that.
Yeah.
And it's going to prove to be a great move, I think, for everybody. I think A24 is going to make money on that movie.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They said they're going to work on expanding production distribution and invest in live theater consumer products, and as you mentioned, Jeff, music. So live theater is an interesting idea. They're going to be investing. Will we see an A24 play? Is that what they're saying?
Yes.
An A24 play.
I think they look at people like Jeremy O. Harris, who did Slave Play, which got its own HBO it's a weird documentary thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're going to look to develop people from that. because they can get the people in theater for cheap and then have them write screenplays and be like, oh, look at this Tony winning writer or whoever.
Interesting. Well, Jeff, we put it in the title. You mentioned it. You wanted to do the top 5 films of 2024. Do you have them on hand? Do you have them listed out? Are you ready to have this conversation here before we get into our Streamlabs and Super Chats?
Yes, I can do this real quickly. Okay, so I am working on, I'm probably going to have it out. I don't think it's going to be tonight. I think it's going to be tomorrow.
Okay.
The top 10 of the year. But yes, I can do the top 5. What was your number 5, John?
My number 5 has to be Hitman. I like that film. I enjoyed it more than some of my friends did. And so I would put Hitman at number 5. And I enjoyed Glenn Powell. And it was nice to see his chemistry there with Adria Arjona. So that's what I would put it in my number 5. What do you got?
I had it in my top 10, but not in my top 5. My number 5 is Babes. Did you see Babes?
Oh, the one with the girl from Broad City, Elena Glazer, yeah.
Glazer, yes.
Yeah.
I thought that movie had me, laughing my ass off in the first half hour and crying by the end of it. It's not a perfect movie, but any movie that can make you laugh and cry and sort of, have you emotionally in the palm of its hand like that, I think has to be considered successful.
Okay. I got to see that one. All right. So what's your 4? We did my 5 first. You do
your 4 is Love Lies Bleeding, starring Kristen Stewart.
Whoa,
another movie I could see being a little divisive for people. You either go with it or you don't, particularly some of its flights of fancy toward the end. Right. But that's another movie that this is a really entertaining, interesting crime movie that by the end of it took on like an emotional resonance for me as the two of them. Whatever. I'm not going to spoil it, but definitely recommend that movie.
Two ladies getting it on. We can't, and we're saying this, and we're doing this before Quiet Place comes out tomorrow. Maybe
I might know that. I might see it tonight.
Yeah. I'm
we can't do a review, guys. Sorry.
Right. I would say Furiosa. That's my number 4. I loved Furiosa, and I thought it was unfairly done in at the box office. I thought it was fantastic. Did I think she 100% worked in the tail end of the movie? A couple scenes that didn't quite buy her, but overall, I thought it was an incredible visual experience, and I liked the story, and I thought Hemsworth was fantastic in this movie. So I put it in my top 5 as number 4.
Furiosa and Hitman were my 6 and 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not far off. Your number 3, John.
So my number 3 is Challengers. I can't get this film out of my head. Love the performance here from everybody involved. Mike Face to Josh O'Connor to Zendaya. I liked where this took me. I like the mixture of sports combined with these 3 people at the height of their physical sexual prowess dancing around this song, the whole movie, in terms of how they live their lives around each other. I thought it had a very strong commentary about sexual politics, about relationships, and mixed in with this idea of drive and determination to succeed, and how many people have it, how many people don't, and how many people waste their talent and get sidelined by other things. So I thought it had excellent commentary about what's going on for people nowadays in their 20s.
That is a good way of looking at it. That's actually pretty insightful analysis right there by my buddy Jon Rocha, although he is wrong about the movie overall. Bunch of foreplay without a money shot. That's what that movie is. Number 3, it is Femme for me, which is a movie in which a drag queen gets assaulted and then sees his attacker in a gay bathhouse and decides to seduce him.
Wow.
Yeah, of outing him as revenge.
It's called Femme?
Femme.
I got
F-E-M-E.
Okay.
It's with George McKay, who is the star of 1917.
Right.
And Nathan Stewart Jarrett, who's a really interesting young performer. And I thought it was excellent. Just like really stuck with me. And it's a love story. It really is a love story at the end of the day.
Okay.
A twisted one, though. And just a sad one. Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
My number 2 is, speaking of sadness, Jesus Christ. If you're a parent, you won't be able to sit through this movie. The Truth versus Alex Jones.
Oh, the documentary. Okay. I have not seen this. So you recommend this?
I recommend it in that everybody should watch it to know what the devil looks like.
Yeah, right.
Okay, exactly. To know how to recognize the devil and that he has a silver tongue.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an infuriating film. And I know parents who have tried to watch it and they couldn't get through it. They had to shut it off. It's that bad. It's crazy. The first half an hour in particular, because of all the school shooting stuff. It's jaw dropping.
He's a phenomenal piece.
Tough to watch. Sorry, go ahead, John. I'm interrupting.
I was interrupting you. Please finish your points, brother. Please.
No, it was just you have to force yourself to watch it. It's not an entertaining sit.
Yeah. He is a phenomenal piece of shit. And I love that, all the judgments are going against him. And they announced earlier this week that they are disbanding InfoWars and shutting it down. There is no one who needs a microphone less than that guy, and no one who's abused it more than that guy. And I'm even including certain people who might be in a debate stage tonight. And so to me, he deserves all the hell that's coming for him, I hope, in the energy of the world. My number 2, and I got to see this film now. I got to put it on my list here, Jeff. But my number 2 is Inside Out 2. I'm telling you, I can't believe how much they cleared the bar with the expectation from that first movie, but also because the recent Pixar films haven't really knocked it out of the park, and people were questioning whether Pixar could still do it again. And my God, what an answer. What an incredible answer here. This film holds up to multiple rewatches. I've seen it 3 times now. The emotional journey you go on every time, and the commentary on mental health here cannot be discounted. And I'm not surprised, as we're more aware of our mental health as a society overall, that more people are going to see this film in subsequent weeks, and the numbers aren't dropping in a way that looks bad. And it's amazing. And it's going to cross 1 billion before we know it. And it might even hit 2, for God's sakes. And that'll be incredible overall. So yeah, that's my number 2.
What's your number 1?
Number 1 is obviously Dune 2. There's not even a question. Dune Part 2 for me, number 1.
Ditto. Also, definitely Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Just so much better than the first one.
There you go.
Okay, that's our top 5 of the year.
There's our top 5 of the year. I might clip this out to be a separate thing. We'll see if we can put it up on the TikTok. But let's get into our Streamlabs super chats here, Jeff, and we'll have to take a break maybe in the middle of it, but let's get through them here so we can hear what the fans have to say, and then also get on with our days. Michael,
and if someone wants to talk about I saw the TV glow, pony up some dough.
Miguel Zion says, hey, John, thoughts on the MCU just putting the X-Men in the same universe with the Fantastic Four? It's much more convenient and simple. We wouldn't have to explain where they've been in Earth 616. Thanks. Well, I don't think he's messing with things, and so I don't know yet. I mean, Kevin did say, yes, this is from a different time, and people with keen eyes, and blah, 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 in his recent post, but I think we have to wait till we see what they're doing before we say, yes, this is going to officially be part of the same universe, then they're both going to come over. I don't know. It's kind of weird, and it's a bit meta, which makes me worry about it as well. So I just want to see how it all plays out. Jeff, any thoughts on this before we move on?
This guy asked the right question, I feel like.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. What's your answer to it then?
Well, I mean, Kevin has said that they're in an alternate Earth, right?
Yeah, Fantastic Four is on an alternate Earth, yes.
Right. Yeah, so, they said it in an alternate Earth because they wanted to make a 60s movie, right?
Right.
But they don't want to have to explain why no one in the MCU has heard of it yet. Right. Yeah. So I believe that the movie will eventually lead to them traveling to the main MCU.
Right. But do you think what he's asking is putting X-Men in the same universe with Fantastic Four so that they both come over having already known each other into the main MCU? Do you think that's a smart move?
Oh, yes. I feel like they have to occupy the same universe to, that's the whole idea of the MCU, right?
No, but I'm saying, do you think they should? What he's asking is, should X-Men and Fantastic Four be from the same Earth? And so when they come over to the MCU, it's an easier transition.
Oh, and the same alternate Earth. I don't know if that is the case with X-Men. I have no idea. Right.
He's asking if it'll be simpler, but I think it leads to its own problems, possibly. But if they make it work, we'll see. Miguel Zane also has thoughts on the Superman leak pics. Apparently, Rick Flag is in it. Is Jeff excited for the film? What's y'all's favorite gun film? Thanks. Go Celtics. Well, we were going to talk about it, but Jeff felt like there wasn't much to talk about it. But if you want to hear anybody talk about it.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, it's not on our list of shit, but if you guys want to fucking put it on the list, you pay for it. So thank you, Miguel. Yes. thoughts on the Superman leak picks? I mean, I thought he looked good. I thought looked like fucking Superman to me. And here's what I kind of liked about it, right? Superman is rocking a Jufro.
You can say that. I can't
see that, guy. I can say that. Did you guys clock that mop on the top of that guy's head? His little ode to the Jewish background of the character. He's giving a little Jufro.
Do you think he's gonna make him Jewish? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, he right in the comics, he is Jewish, but he's raised Protestant, right?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Superman's Jewish. Superman's fucking Jewish.
I don't recall that being a part of the comics, but if you say so, okay.
Superman, big old Jew, lit the menorahs, spun the dreidel. But he was raised Protestant, so.
All right, man.
It's a nod to his heritage, that Jufro atop his head. I'm telling you.
All right. Fair point.
David's Jewish as well.
I respect it. Yeah, yes, you're right. All right, let me see what else we got here. Let's go on to the next one.
Grillo's in that fucking movie.
I know he looked good. And there is some spoilers possibly in those pictures, so I'm not going to. Yeah. And I don't know how the security's not getting locked down, Jeff, because they are getting full-on shots of this stuff. So it's crazy.
It's crazy how many photos. It's like people are literally signing their names. It's like, don't forget to give me photo credit.
It's insane.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't think anything in this film is not going to be spoiled by the time it comes out, because this is a bad beginning for that Superman film.
It had everything. I saw a shot. It was everyone from the Daily Planet.
Like,
Dude, I go work security. Hires me to work security down there.
They have video. Yeah. Mike Joyce says, Jeff, any word on Chucky season 4 or a new movie? Yeah, I thought they greenlit Chucky season 4. Am I wrong on this, Jeff?
Chucky season 4. The only thing I've heard, this is a big rumor. This is rumor city. This is not confirmed. I don't have a second source on this. I haven't heard anything on Chucky season 4 or a new movie, but I heard, what if Chucky entered the Megan universe?
Ooh.
They're both Universal, I think. I mean, Child's Play was originally an MGM movie, but the show's on Peacock, right?
Yeah.
So it's an NBC Universal property.
Okay.
And they have Megan, and I'd heard something like maybe a post-credit scene in Megan, like that features Chucky or something, like something funny like that. Not that it would be like an actual Megan versus Chucky movie, but just don't be surprised if something happens with Chucky in that franchise.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. All right, we'll see. Eric Rivera says, thoughts on the Blue Beetle animated show leak? Eric, I didn't see it, so I don't know if there was. And I try to stay away from leaks, bro. It's to me, I don't like to have things ruined necessarily, even though the Superman stuff, we did do it on the Geek Buddies, but I just want to stay away from that kind of stuff, so I haven't seen it. But hopefully it's good. Jeff, I'm assuming you haven't seen this leak.
Nah, I didn't pay attention. Blue Beetle animation. I'm still looking for a word that interests me.
Such a shit. Aaliyah Lewis, any Star Wars scoops, especially for Ahsoka season 2?
Yeah, the new Darth Vader is.
Don't say
no.
The trailer for Andor season 2, the teaser trailer, was leaked on
Twitter. People are now going to say there's a new Darth Vader.
I stumbled upon that and I was like, God damn it. So no. Dallas says, Jeff, how sure are you that Pattinson shows up in the Penguin? Do you think he'll show up in the Penguin series as Batman or Bruce Wayne?
I think that's been confirmed.
Okay.
Okay. Appearance.
Thank you, Sharon Pollitt. Appreciate it. Always love your support of the Outlaw Nation, especially the hot mic. Thank you, Sharon. Carlton, there you go. London Calling says, John, I did a live Patreon video Q&A with Christian on Tuesday. Would be great if you did a similar live Q&A for Patreon members each month. Yeah, I suppose at some point down the road. I've got to get somebody to be in charge of the Patreon of my side of things, so we'll see. But Jeff and I always kick around the idea of doing the Patreon, which could be, I was thinking
my own Patreon. It's gonna be called OnlyFans. It's gonna be a lot of cocker.
Only Jufros. That should be called.
Cocker Jufros. That's the name of OnlyFans.
I thought about this last night because I was watching Heat for 30 minutes, and I remember Jeff and I doing a commentary for Collider on Heat, and I thought it could be fun if we were to open the Patreon for Hot Mic as a benefit. Jeff and I like doing a version of the rewatchables where it's me and him revisiting a film and having a conversation about it, and maybe watching a scene or two from the film and commentary on it.
Well,
And that
you guys, let me ask you guys a question.
Here we go.
Would you rather see us watch a scene and comment on it, or would you rather see us act the fucking scene? Because there is a draft in my TikToks, okay? It is it's the 6.5 minute diner scene in Heat with me and me. One blanket over me, one I'm shirtless. Bed one morning.
Oh my God.
And it's hilarious. And I feel like if that was me and you going back and forth, people would pay for that.
I think they would. I would absolutely be down with that.
Imagine like we could do the Heat scene, me and you right now, and sell that video.
We would fight over who's playing who, right? You're going to play
versions. We swear that's
a great idea. Oh my God, that's a great idea. Okay, if that's an option that we can do both roles in case we feel connected to another role, then done. I would love that.
We could do that every week for all kinds of classic movies.
That'd be great. Put at the $20 level, people would.
You could be Baldwin and Glengarry Ross one week, and I'm Jack Lemmon.
Come on, put that coffee down. Coffee is for clothes.
That's a way to get around the copyright to do all this shit.
That's a great idea. Fuck me. That's
great ideas.
Yeah. Great point.
But I got fired 10 years ago, so can't be hired for anybody.
Thoughts on the Here trailer, Dad Boy?
Interview actors until the actors just interview each other into oblivion.
Yeah, we saw actors on actors. Dad Boy, we talked about the Here trailer. Thank you very much for the donation. Thunderwolf says the Bear had a 37-minute recap. Truly cinema.
For real?
It was. Real? Yeah, 37 minutes of recapping his entire life, jumping back and forth in time, and it's the greatest episode of TV I've seen in a very long time. Incredible. I thought
you made a 37-minute recap like last season on the Bear. No, it went for 37 minutes, and then the episode started.
No, it's absolutely the whole. 37. Yeah, it's his life in 37 minutes, jumping back and forth in time. Incredible. Sean Gardner, what's up, Sean? He says, as a former Mormon missionary, the Heretic trailer rocked my soul. Can't wait to see it. Oh, I bet, Sean. I bet, man. Yeah, that's great. Dallas says, thoughts on Lee Pace as Batman? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean, build and like I could see him face in the cowl, but like he's never done anything for me.
He's not a Bruce Wayne. He's a Harvey Dent. He's not a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Your boy Jimmy says, do you think WB would use the Harry Potter series' budget to cast notable actors or unknowns? I would do anything to see Adam Driver as Snape. Ooh, that's an interesting choice.
I mean, I think you would get stars as those kinds of characters, but I think you'd probably get unknowns as the lead trio.
Yeah, the lead kids, 100%. Unknowns, 100%.
Yeah.
But Driver as Snape is fascinating. I could see that. Luces Cámara Superacción. I love everything I've seen from Cleveland so far, from Clark's odd hairdo to Mr. Terrific suit. I know Gunn will pluck the heartstrings and pump up the action. I see a W for DC. What do you think? Yeah. As Jeff said, it looked good. I like the color design. And of course, we haven't seen it when it's been treated in post-production. The suit's going to look awesome on screen. I thought Mr. Terrific looked fantastic. And look, unfortunately, Grace Randolph said the wrong thing, and she's getting toasted on Twitter for it, and correctly so, to make some kind of aspersion that James Gunn is making some 1970s Black Panther commentary with how Mr. Terrific looks. It's just nonsense. And then I heard she said, and I don't know if this is true, she said the cast isn't sexy enough. And yeah, none of that makes any sense. So not one of Grace's best observations. And, I'm not going after Grace. I think she can make some really good points. I just think that one's off base. Your thoughts on this? Anything, Jeff, you want to add to this?
I mean, even with the rather mid cast, right? I don't think this is like a huge big name cast. I think this movie will do very, very well next summer.
Yeah.
The only question is like the remainder of the DC, because James Gunn can't be everywhere. He can't do all these movies himself.
You're right.
So it's what does the rest of DC look like, and what comes? So okay, if the plan is Superman, and then it's Supergirl.
Yeah.
What do you think the next movie is? People say it's Brave and the Bold, right?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are speculating.
James Gunn, wouldn't you just do Superman 2?
No, because that's what got them in trouble, was rushing Superman versus Batman into production, I think that would get them in trouble. I think the Authority is going to come after Supergirl because the Authority is going to be introduced in Superman.
Fair enough. I just think that like a Superman sequel should already be being written by somebody now.
It probably already is being written. Yeah. The thing comes up with Brave and the Bold. It's like, well, when's the Batman 2 going to be shot and come out? When's Brave and Bold coming out? You can't have them come out within months of each other or a year of each other even. So it's got to be, how are you staging that? If you're even going to do the Batman 2, which a lot of people are speculating, even though James is saying, no, it's going to happen. A lot of people are speculating that it might not happen. So we'll see.
I mean, Batman 2, though, I think it's going to happen. Look at how chatty Matt Reeves has been lately.
Yeah.
He's been a lot more active on social media. I think that's a good sign.
So look, Bo DeMeo was chatty on social media, Jay West says, if Westerns do not do well anymore in the theaters, why would Kevin Costner use his own money to produce one and he's going to lose money on it? Because artists are driven by their visions. And Kevin says this all the time in the recent, if you watch him in the interviews, he's like, I wanted to do this. This was the right time. I had to get this out of me and take a chance. And so we'll see. Plus, he's got a very strong base of followers and supporters. And I wonder if they'll show up, Jeff, because it's not getting great reviews coming out of these festivals. So we'll see what the result is.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, artists are crazy and they're driven by passion. And this guy had the money and he was like, I'm not going to wait for permission or anyone else to write the check. I'm going to do it myself and bet on myself. And listen, that may prove to be a bad bet this weekend. But props to fucking Costner for doing it.
Yeah. You guys can't cry for artists to let them do their visions and then question the artists for following their muse. Like, it's just, you got to let people do it. And yeah, he might lose his money, but he's taking a chance and he's an artist and it's what inspires him. Watch his interview, the recent interview he did with Howard Stern.
Take a chance.
Exactly. Watch his interview with Howard Stern. You'll get a real good insight into his brain and around this project. Pratty BK says, is Harry Potter going to be WB's new flagship show? What do you guys think the budget of the first season is going to be? Take House of the Dragon as the base starting point, and then go from there, is what I think budget-wise. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's way bigger than that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's the baseline, and then it grows from there.
I don't think that's the baseline. I think Lord of the Rings is the baseline.
Oh, wow.
I mean, how much did they spend? $500 million?
Yeah, $500 million on that. Wow.
I think that's the new standard.
I guess that's a great point. Do you guys think HBO, Pratty also asks, do you guys think HBO will make any changes to the Harry Potter story, like add diversity or racial and gender swaps maybe? Does J.K. Rowling have final say? Yeah, I think they're going to walk that line and dance around things, and J.K. is going to turn a blind eye to certain things because she's going to make money off of it. So do you think they'll change the story, add more diversity? Will they be a Spanish wizard for once in Harry Potter, for God's sakes? What do you think there, Jeff?
I could see a black Harry Potter. Can you imagine that? I mean, if you had a black Harry Potter, you could pretty much keep everything else the way it is and just be like, well, we got a black Harry Potter, what do you want? What do you want from us? I don't know. It's a good question, but I do get the feeling that you're right. It would not be 3 white kids.
No.
I don't think it would be 3 white kids.
I mean, if you make Ron black, that could be interesting too, because he ends up with Hermione. That's an interracial relationship.
I don't think you gender swap them, but I think one of them would be of color, even if it was the redhead. Yeah.
I would love to see a Harry Potter gender swapped, but the internet would lose their fucking minds, unfortunately. Wayne Edwards says, when Jeff first mentioned...
It would be too risky for Warner Brothers, right? It's like, you're not trying to take a risk with Harry Potter. You're trying to, play it a little safe.
You're already taking a risk working with JK. So, why would you add to the risk? When Jeff first mentioned the idea of a Blazing Saddles remake, I scoffed at it, but as I thought about it and Jeff named possible directors, I think we are past due for something like this. Thank you, Wayne. Jeff, your thoughts?
Wayne, the thing about this is that it would open the floodgates. It would give the town permission to make comedies again that offended people.
Yeah.
Right? Push the line as far as you can
with
Blazing Saddles, and then everyone else gets to color in the lines.
Yeah, so to speak. Brady BK says, given that J.K. Rowling is controversial, will the Harry Potter actors have it in their contract that they can never publicly speak against J.K. Rowling now or for the next 8 years until the show is over? That's a great point, Jeff. Will they have NDAs in their contracts that says they can't say anything negative about J.K. Rowling while they're under the service?
What talent rep is going to let their actor sign that contract and then lose a ton of money if they say the wrong thing because that's how they feel? No, I don't. I think it would be tough to get talent to sign those contracts.
Too many junkets, too many opportunities to say the wrong thing, right? Like we saw recently with the actor from The Acolyte saying that Anakin blew up the Death Star twice in an interview, and everybody lost their fucking minds. There's too many opportunities to make mistakes there.
Jeremy Miller, do you think that Blazing Saddles is hurtful? That remaking the movie would be automatically hurtful?
Yeah, that's a good
way.
Yeah. All right, let's see. One last one, dude, that we got here from on the super chat side of things. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey, what's up? He says, "What's up, everyone? Don Ronaldo here. Hey, I got here late, catching y'all on the replay." Jeff,
I just fucking love this guy. You cannot speak of ill of Don Ronaldo.
All right. Thank you, Don Ronaldo. Appreciate it. We love whenever you come on, my man. And thanks so much for catching us, whether it's live or in the replay. You're one of our favorites for sure. Jeff, let's take a quick break and then we'll hit the Streamlabs and then we'll get on out of here right after this. All right, let's get into it here. Jeff, we got a few questions and then we're rolling on out here. Let's see. GGO521 says, can't watch live, but always love your content. Thank you so much for the very kind donation there, Hugo. Thank you so much. Tobias says, hi, I recently read the book, The Winner. Pretty good. I noticed Sony bought the rights, and the author in an interview said he finished the script. Tom Holland was spotted with the book. Do you think there is any connection there? The lead is a 25-year-old dude. Jeff, thoughts?
I feel like nobody reads for pleasure anymore in this town. So if he's reading a book, he's been offered the project or something. But no, I haven't heard anything to that effect.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good tip. I'm gonna have to rewind this show and go back and into that.
I don't even know what the book is, so I'll be fascinated to see what that's all about. I got a lot of people trying to get me to read Dark Matter as well before I watch the show. So we'll see.
That book's good.
Yeah. Parker said, I talked about the bigots hating the Acolyte on my podcast, the Cineverse podcast, and got more hate than you could ever imagine. These people are genuinely awful. Yeah, there is some people who launching legitimate criticism at the Acolyte, as we've done on our reviews on the Geek Buddies and on the Jedi Way. So there is legitimate criticism to be had. It's when the criticism veers into sexism or misogyny or racism or bigotry. That's where the problem lies. And unfortunately, people manufacture that you're trying to put them in the same group as legitimate criticism, and that becomes the whole thing. So unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. But I think there's a lot of positive people pushing back in the Star Wars fandom as well. So we're at a real tipping point, it seems like, in the Star Wars fandom. Jeff, has any of this permeated your bubble at all that you can comment on it or no?
No, I'm good. I'll pass.
Okay, sounds good. Parker says, love your shirt, John. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I saw this on Amazon. I had to get it. Jeff, yours is nice too, just different. Just reminding you both that if you ever need a free audio engineer, video editor, composer, I'm always here. Thanks for what you do forever.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, very kind, Parker. And Parker, if you want to DM me some ideas for music, this is the new music on the hot mic is just something I found. Jeff's okay with it as well, but it's just a temporary fix because the music we had before, there were copyright issues going on from the people who made it. So if you want to come up with something pretty badass, please feel free to DM me. And I'll run it by Jeff to see if he likes it as well. Joe says, about to watch Kinds of Kindness, but I just wanted to say have a great show, guys. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, Jeff, are you going to see Kinds of Kindness this weekend, or is this kind of like kind of approach for you?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't think I am. I think I'm going to pass on that. A lot of people I keep hearing are just like, this movie was horrible.
Yeah.
I might have to save that for VOD.
Yeah. I'm not excited by it. That's why I don't feel the need to go see this film right now either. So I'm in the same boat with you, brother.
2 hours and 45 minutes. And when you add another half, we're not going to a press screening. So you got to add another half hour for the trailers. If I'm going to see a 3-hour movie this weekend, what am I going to go see, John?
Horizon. Horizon, is it this weekend? I thought it was next weekend.
I think it's this weekend.
Oh shit! I'm going to see it if it's this weekend. JC said, making a Harry Potter TV show feels like they redid the OG Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. Maybe because I grew up with it, but the locations and cast are iconic at this point. Will they shoot it at the same Hogwarts? Will Universal Studios add stuff from the show? I think they're going to build all the sets from scratch. And I think you're really looking at this wrong. They're not retracing the steps you saw already from the previous directors. This is going to be a series. So they're going to go much in depth in ways that you have never experienced the films before. And I would argue that, the films, some of them are good, some of them are not so good. So there's room to improve. What are your thoughts, Jeff? Anything?
I don't
know. No? Did I lose you?
Harry Potter related?
Yeah. All right. Good job. Good stuff.
I think I just broke up a little bit.
No worries. Sam Beagle says, any shot at Raimi or for a future MCU or DCU film? Do you think Sam Raimi would come back? Jeff, do you think he will? I guess.
I think yes, because I think he would come back, A, and B, his movie did well, right?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange did well, even though you and I hated it.
Yes. Thoroughly hated it. $975 million, though.
Like, I think we can move on from Raimi, frankly. But yeah, I acknowledge that he's obviously made some great comic book movies, and he wouldn't be the worst hire, and he would be easy to defend given his financial track record. I just was really disappointed by that Doctor Strange sequel.
I agree. Wayne Edwards. Hey, Wayne, good to see you. Thank you very much, Wayne. He says, I saw Inside Out 2 with a friend who is a therapist. We both liked it a lot. We talked for almost an hour about the concepts in the film. It is successful because it can appeal to people from 9 to 90 years old. The last 39 minutes of the film, wow. What did you guys think? Well, Jeff, I think we talked about it when we were doing our top 5 films. He sent this an hour ago, so we talked about it already. Anything more to add to our discussion?
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was, a worthy sequel, which is rare when we're talking about Pixar.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not rare. I like Toy Story 2, but there wasn't a ton of drop off, which I liked.
Yeah, which is and it changed directors as well, so even more surprising. Fred,
it was a bit more adult.
Yes. Fred Tastic says, hey, Hot Mike, outrageous budgets seem to be something Disney can't avoid. Inside Out is a smash, but it costs $200 million. Fantasy casting, who would you get for and what city would you pick for a remake of The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh? $30 million budget? Listen, that's a basketball movie from the 1970s. Jeff, have you ever seen The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh?
I actually never did.
Oh, okay. That's Stockard Channing. She's a psychic who helps this losing basketball team become successful. I think Dr. J's in the film. Meadowlark Lemon's in the film. I think Bob Cousy's in the film. But
Travolta's not in it, is he?
No, Travolta's not in that one. But it's a weird little film. I don't think you could remake it as anything other than a streaming film. So I would say 15 million. And I don't know who you get. Maybe some of the young actors that have come through. I don't know right now who you would get for something like that. But it's a great suggestion. Or Fredtastic, rather. Sorry. And let's see. Samo, last one. Which 90s to early 2000s film that is not talked about much should get a sequel/remake? Also, I went to the Celtics parade. It was fun. I did test positive for COVID this week, so please hope and pray that I will recover. I really want to see Maxine. Yeah, Jeff, this is why I avoid group outings. So you got COVID going to the parade in Boston. What are your thoughts here?
Okay. 90s early 2000 movie that needs a sequel, you said?
Sequel or remake?
You ready for this, guys? You ready for this?
Break it down.
You ready for this? Christian Bale in Equilibrium 2.
Ooh. Do you bring back Emily Watson?
I have no fucking idea who else is in that movie. Tay Diggs. But yeah, fucking Christian Bale, Equilibrium 2, kicking an unholy amount of ass like John Wick, like Keanu and John Wick, and this just becomes Christian Bale's new action franchise.
I think you do Johnny Mnemonic. You remake Johnny Mnemonic. You bring back Keanu to connect it to the earlier film, and you make a better movie. Maybe give David Leitch that film and see what he can do with it. And maybe cast Mike Faced off Challenger. So maybe he'd be a nice choice. So, or you remake Virtuosity or you do a Virtuosity sequel. You're being Denzel and Russell, who could use a new good movie back in this situation. We'll see.
Equilibrium was awful. Roach Smythe, how dare you? Christian Bale was amazing in that.
A weird little movie for sure. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you madly. Thanks for the Streamlabs and Super Chats and the lively chat. And if you're watching later, we appreciate it as well. Jeff, where can they find you, my man? Another fun show. Where can they find you?
Sneider.com. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell everybody that you know.
There you go.
Anyone who might like movies, because you know what? If I just give you one recommendation, one book to read, that you've never heard of before, it's worth it.
It's worth it. There you go. As for here, the Unleashed Hot Mic, please remember to subscribe down below. Hit that bell button. As I said, leave your comments if you're watching later. Want to hear from you. Keep them civil or I'll erase them. That's how it works. And we appreciate you all hanging out with us very much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Go see a movie. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace.
Do.